Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, brother and sister in faith, especially those who uphold truth and resist falsehood. Welcome again to the Two Ocean channel. Today's topic will be about Dajjal Eschatology. This is a new attempt just to make sure that we all have kind of a good structure understanding of the relation between Dajjal and Shaitan, and Iblis, and Gog and Magog, and all the other components or parts. So before I begin, I just want to add 2 points to the previous video entitled From Imam Ghazali to Shaykh Imran Hussain. I want to mention that both agree about that Quran should be judged over the hadith or any other statement. So both agree that the Quran is Furqan, and I want to add this point from my own opinion that both of them were mujaddid in their time. So Imam Ghazali was mujaddid in his time, and Shaykh Imran Hussain in our time. So after saying that, we're gonna start from emphasizing some concepts. I'm gonna talk about 4 concepts that we're gonna need to understand this attempt of explaining the Dajjal Eschatology. The 4 concepts I'm gonna try to use I'm not gonna try to use like the Two Ocean methodology in defining them, but I'm gonna just define it as it is. In the same time, I'm gonna highlight something that has to do with the Two Ocean. So the first word is a system. What is system? And the second word will be power. What is power? And the last 2 will be evil and good. What is evil? What is good? So beginning with system. The system is actually is a model that designed by an agent or someone who have the capacity or ability to do the design. So, and it has elements, and this elements is interconnected with each other in a specific way, and each of them has a specific rule or function to serve one goal or one outcome. This is how easy like describing a system, and this system, this word exists both in Two Ocean, which means it exists in the world of Alam al-Shahid, which is the material world, and Alam al-Malakut, which is the as Shaykh Imran Hussain referred to, a spiritual world, or we can call it the world of Wahy. So, by the way, Alam al-Shahid and Malakut, this is how Al-Ghazali used to distinguish between these two oceans. So, and I'm going to use an example to make it more easy. So, imagine that you are trying to plant something, and you don't have any experience about that. So, what you do actually, you try to analyze the system of how to plant, and through your analyzing, you actually hacking that system and intervene and try to make it goes toward your goals. So what you have in the planting, you're gonna have elements and like soil and seeds and etc. other things. So you're gonna have these elements, and you will try to see how they are interrelated, and you're gonna do it by trying, and after that, when you finish, you will understand how this system works, and you're gonna have kind of like a model, and this model could be similar for others, or maybe others has done more work. So this is like very basic understanding of what is system. And when we go to the word power, power is authority and control. And actually, power maintains by specific like models, specific system models. So it's actually, both of them are fundamental, initial for our material world, and even for the Alam al-Malakut, which is like the spiritual world, or you can call it Wahi world, you can call it, there's a lot of names, but let's stick on spiritual. But I like to use Malakut more, like the way Ghazali is, because Malakut has more like more deep meaning, or more collective meaning than spiritual. So by knowing this now, we know that this too, system and power, exist in both. And when we talk about power, we actually talking about initial things that like allowing the system to work, or allowing anything around you to work or function. So going to the what is good and evil. Good and evil. Good is a title, and evil is a title, but they become a source after a while. So when you do something evil by maybe oppressing someone or do harming someone, and you keep doing that continuously without regretting, so in the end you will become a source of evil. And that is something, if you do good things and you keep doing it, so you're going to become a source of good. And we have a very clear example in the Quran about how you can become a source of evil from a title to source, like the story, the beginning of history about Iblis, when he declared that he's higher and he's better than human because he been created by fire. So he started oppressing, and he's starting to use this arrogant like statement, and he insists, even though, so he's actually increasing his evilness, so he actually moving toward to be a source of evil. That's why when we hear shaitan, we directly link it to Iblis. By the way, shaitan is a title, so it could be both human or jinn. And this is like an example of a jinn. And there is another example, which is Gog and Magog. Yeah, it's an example of a human being, about evil and source of evil in human being. But we're gonna, inshallah, not talk about that now. We're gonna keep it for another videos, inshallah. And we have a good example from title to source, like as a Prophet ﷺ in his time when they made the first hijrah to Ethiopia or Habasha. So they had a king, and the king has a good attitude, and he even add that good thing with other good things and keep doing justice and even accepting the Quran. So all of that is increasing the good, so he became a source of goodness. So that's why the Prophet asked the Sahaba to go to him. And there is like several examples you can find about good and evil. So after saying this, now we're gonna enter into the Dajjal Eschatology. So to enter this, I have to tell you that Dajjal's eschatology is like Islamic eschatology. I much better to refer it as our eschatology from Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is like from Nabi Isa alayhi salam eschatology, which is Nasara eschatology or Christianity, and there is the Jewish eschatology. There is similarity between the Jewish and the Dajjal, but Dajjal, we can start with him so we can understand more and more. So why I mention all this concept, because we're gonna see how it's related to the subject. So when we begin the story, the beginning of history between Iblis and Adam, we will see one surah, Surah Taha, if I remember right, when he said that to Adam, alayhi salam, just to make sure that I'm quoting, when he told Adam alayhi salam, after أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فوسوس إليه الشيطان قال يا آدم هل أدلك على شجرة الخلد وملك لا يبلى. So from this ayah, which is ayah 120 from Surah Taha, Iblis actually told Adam, open the door for evilness, because he is actually using one eye. So he wants Adam to do the same, and he told him, I'm gonna guide you toward a system. This shajara actually is an analogy for a system and subsistence that has a lot of outcomes. So he told him, I'm gonna direct you and guide you to that system that will allow you to have an eternity. This system will allow you to live eternity and even to have authority that will never demolish, like a power that will never end. So you will see that he actually talked about system and power, two initial things. So these two things actually is the door for the subject, which is the Dajjal. So when Adam said he made the tawbah, so he refused to follow that, and he took from Allah, he returned back to the two ocean again. So he took from Allah Hidayah ar-Rahm. But if we gonna ask ourselves that, what if Adam took this guidance from the shaitan? What's gonna happen? What Adam will end up, he will end up as a Gog and Magog. So if he will take this two guidance from shaitan, he will end up as a source of evil. But he didn't. But some of his children, human being called Gog and Magog, actually accepted that invitation and become a source of evil. Within the time, actually, they increase. So we're going to talk about that, inshallah, later on other videos. But as you see, this evil now exists from title to source. But there is a direct source, which is what we're going to talk about, Dajjal. So, and we're going to now turn from this starting point to another story, which is very important. Is the story of Samiri in Surah Taha, and in Ayah 96, he said something interesting. Samiri, he said, I have accessed knowledge that no one had ability to access, and I brought out this outcome or this system. So actually Samiri, he's the one who started or spark again the calling of the evilness, or we can call that this evil now. He's trying to call something which is evil by accessing something which is good. And what I mean by that, I mean like he is accessing using the two ocean methodology. I'm not sure if he's using two ocean methodology, maybe he's using another method, because Allah says in the Quran, there is a lot of method for our huda. In the Quran, Allah says there is a lot of subul, a lot of method toward the hidayah. So he could have something similar, but maybe a bit different. So, and he actually, when he started to talk about that what he accessed, and the outcome was the cow that he designed and engineered by accessing this information and doing this kind of like integrating the two oceans and come out with this. There is an ayah Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Imran, which is very important to understand what exactly happened with the Samiri, is when Allah says in Ayah 7 that there is ayat muhkamat and ayat mutashabiha, and he says that there is a people who have a heart in the wrong direction, and he mentioned that as a zayg. They have a zayg in their heart, and this zayg was we witness it with Iblis when he just turned and he said that I'm better than him. So Samiri had something that looked like that. He had a zayg. So what he do? He trying to access that and do his interpretation, and then from the interpretation he will come with outcome. So when we go back to the Samiri, so because this is like this is only the entering of the Dajjal Eschatology. So when we're trying to understand what exactly he did, he has a scientific understanding of manufacturing stuff, but he had something else in him, which is because he was in Egypt and he saw a lot of sihr. And by the way, I just forget to tell you that the word sihr doesn't mean like the definition that we have absorbed long ago, and we keep observing that magic and black magic has nothing to do with that. If you go back to the Quran, you'll see that Allah mentioned clear that sihr means manipulation of the mind, which means like you actually hacking the system of the mind and manipulating by doing scientific methods. Actually, you apply scientific method to manipulate, and this manipulation is called sihr. But the method they're using is a scientific method. So what the Samiri, when he saw all that, he had something in his heart that actually, that's weird with Bani Israel, that they challenge Allah, they challenge God. So he had something in his mind telling him, maybe the Iblis was a part of it, so telling him that he can be as Musa. He can guide people as Musa do exactly, and he can create like a miracle as the way Musa does. So that's why he applied the method, and from that method he accessed, and from that access he came out with his system. And the model that he came out is just the beginning to the great model. So it's a model which is like system that will bring another system, and will grow like that. And this system is the beginning of this idea that he brought is the beginning of the Freemason idea. So, and this idea kept with Bani Israel, even though he been expelled, Samiri, but the idea that he brought was still there within the Bani Israel. So as Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein told us, the story of Sulaiman and the Jasad, this is emphasized again that this idea was exist, and Sulaiman saw that some of his follower from Bani Israel actually had some kind of practice of that, and they are trying to keep growing on that, and then in the end they will reach to that kingdom. So what Sulaiman did, he asked Allah for forgiveness, and then he asked, which is the right way of asking Allah, and then he asked to destroy his kingdom, because they don't want them to use that benefit of their kingdom to reach their goal. And Allah accepted that dua, and they've been just destroyed, and they've been thrown everywhere. So, but still, they have their community exists somewhere, and even after Sulaiman, they came back to the Jerusalem to try to establish madaris and a lot of that after Sulaiman alayhi salam, and because they are following this idea, so when Allah sent Isa alayhi salam, they already have a map, a roadmap to that Shajaratul Khuld and Mulkun La Yabla. They already have that map established. So they understood that if this Nabi, Isa, doesn't follow them by accepting their approach or their outcomes of the method that they use, then he should be moved away. And they have this kind of belief that they can move him away by killing him, because they have done that before. So they already, when Isa came, it's not because he came without father. That's one of the reasons, definitely. But there is another reason. Maybe this is the general reason, but the specific reason was he is not following the map they had. So they should remove him, because he is a threat to that Shajaratul Khuld, to that ultimate system. So what they did, they tried to kill him, as Allah mentioned, and they failed. But they believe that they killed him. And there is a reason why Allah made it like that. So Allah wants them, if they want to move to that direction, so they will need to, they're going to face a huge punishment. This is one of the reasons why they reject Nabi Isa, is because they have a map that they have already established since Samiri. So this Freemason model is just the step one of the sub-models and other models that come from it. And before we go to the sign of the Dajjal, I want to tell you that Al-Samiri, his establishment of this school from Bani Israel moved to the Jewish, to the group who they call themselves Jewish. The time that Nabi Isa came, actually they are the ones who are contained and hold on that belief model or map, because they are changing in the Torah according to that map. So they kept that, and they reject him, and even they made kufr against him, and they said bad word as usual. You usually do that because that's against their ultimate goal. And you see that there is a part of Bani Israel who believed on him, which means that not all of them actually following Samiri model. So since that time until the time of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from that until that time, they actually trying to fulfill the sign of this map. And they know that's why they were in Medina. So and that's why they asked the questions about Gog and Magog and so on. And we're going to inshallah talk about that more and more when we talk about Gog and Magog. But now we can see now that Iblis, his main measure, his main function is to deceive and maintain people to make evil, as he do. So it has nothing to do with Dajjal, but he's trying to maintain you to keep doing evil. And he said that in the Quran, several ayah. And Dajjal exists as an evil being. So he's not something has a title and developed to become a source. He's actually a source of evil. So he exists as evil being, as Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein said, and in Surah Al-Kahf, we can see that he was like, he's moving in different dimension until he will become a human being, and we're gonna see him in this earth. So, and that's the ultimate model. So now we're gonna talk about, after telling all that, now we're gonna talk about his science. And to start talking about his science, because this is very difficult actually, it's not easy. So there is one person who did very great, significant work. His name is Abdul Wahab al-Masiri. He's Egyptian, he's Arabic scholar and thinker and philosopher. He died 16 years ago, and he wrote, he did a huge work on the subject, even though all his work has nothing to do with eschatology. All his work has nothing to do with Gog and Magog, and even the Masih Dajjal. But all his work actually is kind of like breaking down these models and explain how they are interconnected and the history of how they begin actually. And he wrote a very big volume called, if I remember the name, it's called Jewish and Judaism and Zionism. It's a like encyclopedia. The main thing he's trying to do in that book is to show you how he analyzed, what kind of method he used, and he trying to define a lot of concepts, a lot of models, a lot of systems and subsystems, define it and talk about the history and give examples. So from him, so the credit actually goes to him when it comes to the sign of Dajjal. So Dajjal actually from the beginning of the method that established from Samiri is actually, this is the beginning, this is the first sign that the Samiri saw, and the outcome was the Freemason. And the Freemason actually was aimed as a system to come to bring other things. Actually, Freemason established in 1519, I think, around that time, even before the French Revolution, before the Industrial Revolution. So what they do, they actually, from that model, they will do other models, they will create other models, they will create other system that will interconnect to their system, but in a very complex way, using very unusual methods. And the famous method they use to bring about these models, which all these models is actually the sign of Masih Dajjal, goes to him. And I'm gonna go through some of them quickly, and maybe we can divide this video to two parts. So this is the first part, and the second part we can take one of the model and go into details from the work of Al-Masiri. So from Abdul Wahab al-Masiri. So if you the model, the Freemason model, bring about this method called Kabbalah, and there is a misunderstanding of this methodology, Kabbalah methodology. That's, I'm not sure if the Samiri used that method, but it's somehow related to that movement. So this Kabbalah is actually look like the two ocean method. So it has nothing to do with magic. This nonsense things that related to it. Actually, it has to do with accessing the two ocean and link them together for specific outcomes. And there is like a process, and there is like steps that they do, which is kind of there's interaction between this and the two ocean methodology. So the Kabbalah is something that they use to bring these models, and the question now comes, because we know that there is evil exists in the ocean of the material world. Is there an evil exist in the other oceans or other dimension? That's a big question. And the same thing with the good. Does it exist here? Does it exist there? So what we can understand, if there is evil exists in some dimension like Dajjal, and they access the two oceans from him actually, by following steps that allow them to reach him, and then get some kind of, they receive some information the way we receive when we recite the Quran, and then they bring the models like this models actually is a signs of Masih Dajjal, which is like the Industrial Revolution, secularism, nationalism, singularity, and there is a lot of like ism, feminism, and sexual revolution, and feminist revolution. All of that model comes from him, and it should be bypassed, because if it's not bypassed, they will not reach to the ultimate model where he will be here. So that's why they're doing that, and even though they have the belief of like God, but they're doing that because they believe that God is supporting them. So and Allah said in the Quran, which means that they do their own hidden work and Allah do His own, but Allah is the best. So this kind of work is keeping. So now we can see and understand now why we have lost all this, why we have been damaged, such a big damage in our life, and we can understand now. We can see the damage, how it has the effectiveness of this damage in our like education, on our monetary system, and all the other livelihood, like and our daily life, how it's affected by the systems that they have impressed on us. And there is the maintain of the system, which is the power. That's the biggest problem, because you can have the system, but if you don't have the power, then it will be not like global. It will be only on a specific group, but because it's an impact on all of us. So there is a power that maintains the system, and this is the subject of Gog and Magog, and inshallah we're going to talk about them on coming videos. So until now, I can thank you, Jazakumullah khair, for keeping watching, and inshallah if you have any question you can ask on the comment, and I will try to answer you. And I say in the end, Allahu A'lam, because all of this is like an attempt. So inshallah next video will be about the method, the first part of the two ocean method. Until now, see you inshallah.